This is the Business Experience Show, where we connect those who want to know more about digital marketing, social media, and business strategy with entrepreneurs who are succeeding in today's marketplace. Follow our blog, join our online network, or connect with us at thebusinessexperienceshow.com. And now, your host, Lisa Caprelli.
Welcome to the Business Experience Show. With me is producer Brian Gapps. We're having a conversation with Kelly Weppler Hernandez of WH & Associates, a strategic marketing firm located in Orange County, California. She helps small businesses get found. Welcome, Kelly.
Thanks very much for having me.
I'm sure we can appeal to every business owner as we all want to be found and be relevant, right?
Absolutely.
I met Kelly at a local B&I networking group, and we could talk forever about the subject of marketing. We help our clients get more business in different ways. And I said, I have to have you on my show. And both of us obviously are not afraid of competition. We both do different marketing strategies for our clients.
That's right.
And I love, Kelly, that you belong to a mastermind group, and you belong to groups that include local marketers or marketers around the country, right?
Definitely. I find when I work with other experts around the country in different aspects of marketing, we're all experts in certain pieces of it, but nobody can be an expert in everything. And I find if I collaborate with colleagues, that makes us all so much stronger, and we can bring a lot better end results to the clients.
So let's get into some of your specialties. What are some of the things that make WH & Associates different?
Well, one of the things that we really focus on is we take a high-tech, high-touch approach to marketing. And what that means is, it's incredibly important today to understand what your marketing is doing for you. So we take a strong look at the analytics and make sure that we have that detail, the metrics set up so that we can track everything that's going on as far as what we're doing online and offline. And then what we do with the high touch piece of it is we take a little bit more of a personalized approach. When you think about high tech, you're sending the same message to many, many people. And that's why I think it's also important for us to take a high touch approach so that we work at personalizing the messages a little bit more and also taking that personalization offline, because that's where most of us are really going to close the business.
And I want you to share with the audience your business background that does relate to tech.
Sure. I spent 12 years in high tech, in telecom, actually, and then I spent another couple of years in semiconductor business as a strategic marketer. And, what I learned in those businesses is that everything is based on business relationships. And that's where the high touch piece of it really comes into play. But I think from a marketing perspective, our industry really needs to step up to the plate and now demonstrate, the analytics piece of it, the results that we're actually producing, and combine that with the high touch.
And you're not only interested in tracking results, but you're interested in really sticking them, and that has something to do with the particular type of marketing and branding that you're involved with.
Right. Again, a lot of what I do is kind of act as my client's Hollywood agent. And that's what we take the internet and do for them, is to get that internet working for them 24/7. That's, the beauty of the internet is that it works 24/7. The other side of it, though, is that you have to actually produce content and be very real time with it as well.
How big is that learning curve these days? We encounter people all the time. I see you rolling your eyes. I mean, right. It varies.
There's so many businesses that need help. I mean, I don't think there's enough marketing people out there with technology changing, with social media marketing. And I think it gets so overwhelming and scaring for business owners. And sometimes they just do nothing because they panic.
Right. I think a lot of them do sort of stick their head in the sand. And, unfortunately today, that you really can't do. If you're not online today, you're not really in business. And, the internet offers you so much more in the sense that it can help you elevate your business 24/7 while you're not working. And we need to be taking advantage of that and teaching business owners how to do that. And that's a lot of what I spend my time doing.
And one of the problems is that the changes in the economy paralleled changes in technology and in what people should be doing with marketing and social media. People are still blaming their slow business on the economy.
No, I think you're absolutely right about that we need to step up to the plate as far as the technology goes. And unfortunately, that's a tough learning curve for a lot of business owners. They were used to doing things, the old school way where, advertising played a huge part of it.
Sure.
And today we do the advertising a lot differently than we did before.
And the customer wants to see a different kind of advertising. They don't want to be pitched. They don't want to be sold. It's more about what are you doing for the community? What are you doing? What are you going to do for me? And because of video, because of digital media, everything's different. I mean, I've done radio for 10 years, and so that's more traditional media, but our radio show, we combine it with blog, with iTunes, archive, and so many things that becomes pieces that, I mean, I don't know why more people don't take advantage of that. And a lot of these things are free. YouTube is free. And how many people do you know don't even have a YouTube channel?
Yeah. I mean, that's the other side of the coin, though, where some of those things can be difficult. And that's where, you know, the business owner does have to actually make an investment in their marketing. You know, that's where you're spending $10 to make $20, $30, $40. And it takes time to do that. And if you don't have the skill set, that's when you do bring in some professionals to help you with it. There's certainly pieces of it that the business owner can do themselves, but it's important to take advantage of, you know, other experts that are out there. And there's all kinds of information out there to help them along the way as well.
Right. Oftentimes, business owners may view marketing as an expense versus an investment.
Yeah, and that's the sad part of it, is that if you really want something to grow, you've got to invest in it. And it's time, it's a little bit of money. It's also skill set and, you know, the level of technology. But what I will tell you is that, you know, the things that we're capable of doing today with the technology are so much more cost effective and so much more powerful than the old school techniques.
Now, I want to get into duct tape marketing. It's not that you're going out and marketing rolls of tape.
Nope.
What is
I have
it?
to say, when I first told Brian duct tape, he goes, duct tape marketing. He's like, should she do?
That's a very specific niche.
And I got it right away. I got the sticking mechanism of it.
Absolutely. That's part of it, is that, you know, duct tape is a household staple that will stick to everything.
Right.
The other thing is that it's cost effective and very efficient at what it does. And that's what we want our marketing to be. So it's working while we're not.
And it's a specific program, and you've been certified with that?
Absolutely, yeah. A gentleman by the name of John Jansen of Kansas City wrote a book a few years back called Duct Tape Marketing, and I'm part of his consortium of marketers. So there's about 65 of us today, and I'm also one of 8 master consultants in the program, and basically what that means is that I help mentor some of the new consultants as they start out with us.
What are some unique skill sets that, being a master duct tape marketing consultant, you give back to your clients?
What I do is actually focus on education for both my clients and my colleagues. And so one of the ways that I do that is, you know, helping them realize that part of their role is to educate their client base or their prospect base. And as a marketer, what that means is teaching them how to buy, teaching them how to be a better consumer of their industry. And that's where the education piece comes in. And some of that's via content, some of it's via webinars, discussions, that kind of thing. And those are the same kinds of things that I do with all my clients as well.
Kelly, I'm sure you have many examples and success stories of how you've helped your clients achieve more success, more business. Give us one example.
I have a client up in San Jose today, and one of the things that he had said to me when he first came to touch base with me is that he wanted to become known as a thought leader in the industry. And so once I take a look at his online presence, I realized that, you know, there was a fair bit of work that needed to be done there. And so we worked at beefing that up and using the technology in that manner. And now we're using some of the other tools, the social media tools, and helping him build content around that so that people really do see him as a thought leader in his industry. And so we've really elevated his presence online.
I think creating content for every business is key. And I like how you say thought leader, give lessons to people. Again, then you're educating and telling people what you do versus pitching and selling to them.
Right, because I think one of the things that's important to remember is that marketing really is about building know, like, and trust. And it's the content that's going to take people along that continuum of know, like, and trust. And the more information you give them, the better shopper you make them, or the more educated you make them, the more trust they're going to have in you, the more likely they're probably going to buy from you when they really need to make that choice.
And while you advocate technology, you also advocate something that Lisa practices and encourages, and that is handwritten notes.
Oh, absolutely. The handwritten note card, I think, is a technique that...
High five to that.
Yes. I think that that's a technique that really needs to stay in place, regardless of the other technology that we're using. Because, again, the handwritten note card is one of the ways that we can actually take people offline. Mm-hmm. Nobody's going to write you a check as a result of an email that they received from you, the same email that 100 other people received. They're going to write you a check based on the relationship that you create with them. And one of the best ways of doing that is with a handwritten note card.
I love that. I in some of my former businesses I work with, I used to hire people just to write note cards all day long, because we would see the correlation of getting a handwritten note card and someone calling or giving us a referral that they gave to a neighbor, because you plant the seed. One of the things I do as an artist, I put my own art cards together and I give it to clients. I'll have to give you some, Kelly, to give to your clients.
And in fact, Lisa, for the next 5 people who tweet about this, at Business Exp Show, you can find that on our website as well, our Twitter account. We will contact you and send a set of 6 artist-designed blank greeting cards, courtesy of our friends at artdecolores.com.
Well, thank you, Brian.
Awesome.
And so when you give a note card, obviously I always say make it a nice photo, something that people won't throw away. So then that's branding you, and that plants a seed. And they'll say, Kelly sent me that card. You know, and when you go to their office, it's probably still sitting there.
Absolutely. That's one of the reasons why I like the handwritten note card, is that it has that kind of staying power. It keeps you top of mind with them. You're writing about something relevant, some conversation or something that you just recently had with the individual, and they usually do keep that card there. So it does keep you top of mind, so that you know, they don't forget about you. Then they know you're close by.
And that is so much more powerful than sending out 5,000 postcards to people that don't know you.
Right. And that's why I say it's important to understand the combination of high tech and high touch, because, again, it's taking people offline, I think, is where you're really going to close the business.
And also along those lines with high touch, you are also a big fan of extreme customer service.
That's one of the other things that I really focus on is creating a client experience that people will talk about. Nobody talks about boring businesses. And, you know, the handwritten note card is another way to get yourself talked about, making the experience memorable.
That's how you get the client experience and get people talking about you.
Yes.
On your website, you have an ebook. Let's talk about that.
Sure. I have an ebook. I have several ebooks on the website, but the one that I think is most relevant in today's environment is an ebook about creating a total online presence. And what the book does is help people understand what a total online presence really means, because it's not just putting information out there online, but it's also listening online, because that's where a lot of value comes into play as well, understanding the trends and the problems that people are trying to solve in your industry. And so that book helps people understand what a total online presence is and how to go about beginning to put that together for your own business.
And give your website.
The website is www.whandassociates.com.
You also say, we want to understand who the ideal client is so we can determine how to get more just like them. And I don't think enough companies really stop and do that these days.
I would agree with you there. I've worked with several people where, you know, one of the first things that we do is take a look at their strategy. And strategy being having a really good understanding of the ideal client, who works really well with them. And the other piece of that is understanding what's different about that particular business. So the strategic part of it, understanding that ideal client, if we go ahead and put down some characteristics of the ideal client and then set out to create marketing around where that ideal client hangs out, how to actually attract them, I think that that's really beneficial. I think the flip side of that, though, is a lot of my clients tell me, well, I don't know if I know all the characteristics of my ideal clients. Well, here's an easy way around that. Figure out who you don't work well with. All of us have had some client along the way where they haven't been the most ideal situation, or there's some characteristic about the client that isn't most ideal for us. So kind of reverse engineer the process. Write down the ones that you don't work really well with and some of the characteristics about them. And then you can kind of get yourself into a position where you understand your ideal client better.
And I want to go back in time a little bit from something you did. Tell us what you learned about how corporations decide whether or not to sponsor a sporting event.
Well, it's interesting. This was an undergraduate thesis project that I did, many years ago now. And really, here's where I understood how metrics really have to start to play into marketing, because most of those corporations were making decisions about sports sponsorship based on gut feel and the types of events that they like to go to and attend. And unfortunately, a lot of times that really didn't map up to their ultimate client and who actually took part in the sport. And that's probably the biggest learning takeaway from my beginning, at the beginning of my career in marketing, and to what I'm still able to use today.
So they're thinking, I'm going to sponsor this event because it's really cool. I'm going to get my name branded out there. But the result may be they don't get clients from it.
I think many years ago that was the case, is that they it was all based on passion and what they were interested in, but not ultimately based on good business sense in terms of the outcomes that they were looking for.
So let's go back into metrics. What kind of metrics? How do you measure success for your clients and show it to them based on what you just said?
Sure. Well, part of the metrics first starts at looking at the traffic that's coming into a website. Then when we look at the traffic that's coming in, is that traffic kind of taking the next step to take the relationship to the next level? Are they raising their hands to continue to be marketed to, that they're still interested in the information that you offer? Are they offering their email addresses? Those are the kinds of things that we want to look at in terms of metrics. And if we're not having those kinds of things happen, then we need to create some content that helps us make that happen.
Well, thank you. Give us your website once again, and it's a free ebook, right?
Absolutely. There's a free ebook there, whandassociates.com.
Thanks for being with us, Kelly.
Thanks so much for having me.
Isn't it fun sharing marketing advice
Absolutely.
for businesses? To learn more about our business guest, Kelly Weppler Hernandez, your marketing strategist, or to hear our entire archive of business experiences, go to thebusinessexperienceshow.com. That's thebusinessexperienceshow.com. #TBES. Connect with us on LinkedIn. I'm Lisa Caprelli. You're listening to Angels Radio AMA 30 KLAA.